Alright, so hello everyone and welcome back to Matchup Monday. Um, in this episode, as you guys voted, we are taking a closer look at the Dracula versus Wayward Sisters matchup. Of course, Dracula has been here around the competitive Unmatched scene for ages, being released in Copland Fog, like, I don't know how long ago, it was insanely long. And Wayward Sisters, of course, being is from the newest set, um, with slings and arrows. So we kind of have this old versus new one here. And if you have seen my Wayward Sisters strategy guide video, I would consider this matchup to be slightly Sisters favored. But we will see that there are still many ways out for a Drac, and it's a really cool one. Before we start, we selected T-Rex paddock as the map, just because it seems kinda even-ish for both fighters, because we want to give you a general overview of how the matchup usually goes, and since top 3 maps for either fighters are usually banned, T-Rex paddock is one of the maps that we think would come out most. And one important thing, hey, we can see Danny this time. He finally managed to put up his cam. Yay. Other than that, re-roll the die and Druck went first. So yeah, about that. Um, Before we start, however, let's take a look at some key interactions in this matchup that we probably don't want to miss, because they are very important and you have to think about it every single time. Alright, so first of all, as with all Dracula matchups, one of the most important cards that will always have some interesting interactions is of course Beast Form. Beast Form is of course Drak's signature attack, and well, it's the thing that Drak usually plays around to win games, except for Fatigue. So Beast Form against multi-heroes, I should say probably, is of course a very scary card, because if it gets boosted up with enough cards, it can just instantly kill one of the sisters. They only have 6 health each, and usually don't block for higher than 4, so this is a really good way to finish one off in a turn, and then you probably have more options for Drak to run away and target one other sister with your ability pings, for example. But, of course, sisters might not have feints, but they have one single card that is really important for Drak to keep in mind, and that is Pricking of My Thumbs. Pricking of My Thumbs, of course, deals the same amount of damage that the sister took on defense back to the opposing fighter after combat. So if Drak, for example, boosts his beast form up with 2 cards, um, well, you have an 8 value attack. Yeah, it kills a sister, but you also take 6 damage yourself, and that is huge amount of auto damage. Drak only has a 13 health max, so it will always at least deal like half of the damage that he has. He'll lose half of his health, at least, every single time. If he's lower, maybe on 10, it's even more. And that's why he has to be really, really careful when to actually go in with a beast form. I think one of the best strategies is to go for one as early as possible, because for once, sisters might not have pricking yet, and if they do, well, you probably didn't take as much damage yet, so it's fine. You still have all of the healing cards, and you still have all of your defenses, so going for an early beast form is probably Drak's way to go. Although, if sisters have pricking, it's still a good interaction for them, because, well, they just deal Drak 6 damage. That's really good. Of course, Drak's other way around this is to confirm with something like Do My Bidding, to actually look at the sister's hands and see, well, is there a pricking in hand? Yes, no, and then maybe you could play around that, but you don't always manage to line that up with a beast form in your hand as well, so I think the most reliable way is just to try to get an ambush either into it or to discard the pricking with the ambush discard, because again, sisters don't have feints, so they have no actual way to stop this. If you play this and they play pricking on defense, Sister's max boost value is a 3, so you might take 3 on both ends, but at least pricking is gone. That's one of your beast forms saved, kinda. And if you hit pricking with the discard, well, even better. So that's really important for both sides. It will definitely come up at least once, I will guarantee you that. Like, no way it doesn't. Um, in almost every single game of this matchup, and it's something that you always have to keep in mind when playing Drac. Of course, if you kill the last sister with Beast Form and die to the pricking auto damage, you still win as Drac because you're the active player. But especially in mid game when you already took some big hits, you definitely want to avoid this. Alright, so next up, I want to talk about Curious Familiar from the Sisters. Um, because this card, of course, lets you return a card from your cauldron to your hand, and that is kind of like the little red hands effect. So you can, if you have a second copy of this already in your cauldron, basically infinitely cycle this card and always attack or defend with it, which against Dracula is actually really strong because the sisters, if they come for an attack, usually don't attack for high values. The worst thing that they can throw is an exploit or an ambush if it hits a boost 3. So you don't take much damage in that case if sisters attack, and this is still a fine defense and you don't lose value. But I think the more important case is, of course, if it goes into sisters, because Drac in that case, if he doesn't have a Feign in hand, always has to make the decision, well, do I want to basically waste a defense card? Because this will just get returned to hand and sisters don't lose value. Or do I just want to let my sister die? Yeah, it's so many sisters, I hope you don't get confused. Um, it's a really interesting decision because Drac, of course, only has 12 defenses, and with such an aggressive fighter like the sisters that basically will attack every turn or every second turn at least, it's pretty hard for him to keep up. Um, so I'm curious to see if we'll see kind of like a curious loop at the start or the end of the game to pressure Drac's defenses. But if we don't see it in this game, well, you should still know about it and should still be able to play around it because of course if sisters can just like kill all of your sisters with this and still don't lose value, that's really bad for you as Dracula because you want your sisters around to kill the sisters with ravenings. So many sisters. We like sisters. All right, and that should probably be it for like the most important interactions in this matchup. Um, just to the nature of both decks not having many standout cards, except for Drak, like with his Beast Form. I don't think there are many really swingy interactions that can go really bad either way, but those two that we discussed will definitely influence this matchup whenever they come up, and it's definitely something you should play around. All right, so enough talking. Why don't we just start and look what we're actually dealing with? So first of all, let's talk about opening hands. As Dracula, just as said in the analysis at the start, you want to see a beast form as early as possible. And, well, I didn't have a beast form, so easy mulligan for me. And now we see, yeah, I have a baptism to heal. I have 2 defenses already, still no beast form and no ambush, so that's not great, but it's definitely better than the one before. And I mean, if I don't get luck and draw beast form, well, it happens. So we start, and I take a wonderful, refreshing maneuver, drawing into a feint, which is already pretty nice. That's a 3rd defense, so I can definitely go a bit more aggressive with Drac. And oh, what do we have there? It's a beast form. Really cool. Um, However, before we jump into Danny's turn, um, let's take a look at positioning, because positioning in this matchup is, of course, again, pretty important. Alright, so talking about positioning. Of course, in this matchup, I have, at the start of the game, 3 different goals for my positioning. First of all, it's to get pings with Drax ability, because I want more cards to actually get some good beast form fodder, and when I use the beast form, I don't just have to discard all of my defenses and then take a lot of damage in return. So I want a lot of cards, maybe some bad cards as well, to actually get one sister out of the way early, because then they have less board control, they can probably pressure me less amount of times, and it will be probably easier for me to hide, even though Rex Paddock is kind of a small map from center. Second one, of course, Ravening. Ravening is a sisters only scheme, so I want to use it as early as possible, because, well, later in the game the sisters will probably be dead. Um, and just to use Ravening, I want to have like the sisters kind of grouped up a bit more, so I don't have to boost as much to actually get a good amount of value. And if we look at this, I already set them up in a way where I can usually get a 2 value Ravening ping if I just maneuver once. Let's say the sisters just stay there. I can often just maneuver Drac away and then get the sister into here with Ravening, deal 2 damage. Um, or I could maneuver over here, get the sister here with Ravening. Um, I have many different options, and it's quite nice for me to have that just to get some early damage, technically, or at least to threaten it, because as you see, of course, I don't have Ravening in hand, so I can't actually play it, but it's still good to make Dani, or the sisters in this case, think about it, because they might change their positioning due to it, which might give me some advantages, because they don't go as aggressive, or whatever. And on the third part, of course, I want to give them as I want to make it as hard as possible for them to actually kill off 2 sisters with 1 attack. Because if they, for example, boost with any of the claw or bat cards, um, they could, for example, go here, attack the sister, kill her, and then since they attacked with probably the other one, so if they boosted with the lizard-like claw, whatever, and then attack with the bat card, they could after that ping of this sister. I don't think there are many good ways for me to position around that because even if I go with this sister over here, I don't like it as much because then they could go here, attack drag, and then ping this. It's not great overall, and I don't want to put these sisters in instant danger at the start. So um, that's why I chose this positioning, and yeah, we'll see how it works out. Alright, so that was it about positioning early. Now it's Danny's turn with the sisters. He decides to go for a maneuver. For me, of course, worst case scenario right now would be him boosting and then actually going for the double kill with the ping spell onto both sisters because there's not much I can do about it. The ping will always go through because I have no way to actually move my other sisters. Um, while being in a combat. So that would be, of course, worst case scenario. Best case would be if he goes in and attacks Drak, but that's probably not going to happen because, of course, he wants to get rid of the sisters as early as possible um, to not like have to play around them. They don't have Ravening anymore. Um, and yeah, well, it's less bodies on the board, so easier for him to manage Drak. Um, and now, well, yeah, he exactly does that. He goes into that wonderful spot where he can attack that sister, and he doesn't decide to boost yet. Um, although just from positioning, he might be thinking about it. He has cards in hand, so he's pretty comfortable still. Um, nothing really to worry about. He has all 3 sisters alive. Um, so it's probably okay for him to boost here, depending on which cards he has in hand. And from the look like, yep, he is going to boost. The boost, of course, itself doesn't do much, but it gives him the extra card in the cauldron, which is, of course, really good for him because now, if he attacks with the Batwing symbol, he can, of course, ping off 1 sister guaranteed. So that's quite good for him. For me right now in this situation, I, of course, kind of know that he's going to do that because, well, he's not just going to waste a card out of nowhere just to play some mind games. it, there's a line that mind games usually don't cross, and wasting cards is usually one of them. So for me, I have the difficult decision right now of whether to defend that sister or not. Just from looking at my hand, I have an exploit, a feint, and a dash, so basically everything that I would need. Um, I have all the options in the world, but on the other hand, I also have a beast form in hand, and I want to guarantee to um, actually be able to kill a sister next turn. Um, If he does decide not to play a spell, the max he could block for next turn is a 4, so Beast Form would deal 2 damage itself, and I would have to spend 4 additional cards. I, of course, could spend the other 2 reds in hand, but then it gets a bit tricky, because if I use a defense right now, I have to spend another 2 cards, and one of them will probably be my healing, because I don't want to be out of defense. So It's not great. Of course, I get to maneuver first, so I get an additional top deck card, but just looking at my hand, there are so many valuable cards right now that I kind of rather want to keep. Um, and I mean, it's only the first sister. I don't have Ravenings in hand yet, so there's no inevitable like pressure for me to keep them. So it's kind of like this interesting game where I, of course, kind of want them alive for the long game, or just like take it. And yeah, that's what I do because, well, I want to keep my cards, and Donnie decides to ping off the second sister. Definitely makes sense. I maneuver, and who I could have defended. I draw into a bidding, and well, beast form time, ladies. Even if it goes into a pricking, I think it's fine for me, and it does not. So, 3 damage, and now I have the option to discard um, to get some cool things. Danny, of course, gets a symbol back. I discard my 2 reds, and now, what defense? It's a tricky one, but I go for the dash because I'm kind of good with my defensive lineup right now. And well, I won't have to maneuver away probably with the dash because sisters probably won't double attack me anyways because well, one is dead and they would have to play the scheme first to move and gain action and then spend their 2 cards in hand to actually attack, and that's really unlikely. So I'd rather keep the other ones because they're either max value blocks or a feint, which are both probably a bit more valuable. And well, that's one sister dead turn 2, and that's of course optimal for me. Also, it didn't go into pricking, so I still have max health, and that's really good. For Donnie, this is probably worst case scenario, but he can definitely still come back from it, because if I don't manage to draw the second beast form early, he still has enough health and enough board control to actually pressure me enough to make me worried. So he decides to go for a wonderful maneuver, wants to build up his hand again. Makes sense definitely. He already has both symbols that he needs for the ping already set up in Cauldron, so I will still have to worry about that every time now, but at the same time, there's not much I can do about it just due to sisters still having 2 bodies, so they'll be able to cover 4 zones most of the time. I was thinking about maneuvering away or just going for an attack, but actually decided to take a more central position because I was thinking, yeah, I kind of wanted to maneuver away first, but in that case, sisters could have just gone for my sister and then kill her, and well, I would be at 6 cards stuck in hand and probably would have to boost because my passes are not doing anything yet because, well, I didn't lose health yet, so that would be not a great scenario. So I stay central to probably not have to boost as much if they should double maneuver on the next turn. And I'm not really worried about them attacking me right now because, well, I have 4 defenses in hand, one of them being bidding, one of the strongest defenses in all of Unmatched, so I feel good right now. Sisters, of course, take a maneuver first. Um, Now it's his choice to actually go for Drac or my lone sister, and he decides to go for Drac, which makes sense. I mean, he doesn't really care about the one singular sister that is left. I defend with bidding because, well, sisters have 4 cards in hand, and it's a good way just for me to know what I'm dealing with currently. And wow, that is some garbage. Um, First of all, we have the 2 all-seeing familiars, the red 4s, which of course are really good attacks. But what I'm more curious about is, wow, their defenses. They only have the 2 ones, the 2 unnatural remedies, which of course are quite useless right now because no sister has taken damage yet. So I actually probably just want to keep the ward as their attack because that is their only like good defense right now. Um, which of course, well, I don't have a beast form in hand right now. That would be of course optimal case, but I still have an exploit which would deal 3 damage. So I mean, I'm good with that. Um, Still just thinking about the options, but I of course don't want to return the 4 because there could be some action gain shenanigans, even though it wouldn't do as much. Um, I go for the ward. So he places me somewhere in the sister zone, and well, pings off my little sister on the bottom. Yeah. That was not good. And now I maneuver and of course go for the attack. I know that he can only defend for one max, and he actually decides to take it, which definitely makes sense because with Remedy at least he can heal up later again. Um, and yeah, so now it's his time again to attack. Um, not to attack, play a scheme. My bad. He decides to go for the heal, um, and then ping. So one damage for me, one heal for him, and he draws a card. Then maneuvers away, which is definitely good for him because, well, I still don't have good ways to pass right now. Um, so I maneuver, try to go for the injured sister, of course, with an ambush. He has a stars online, um, so 4 zones right now, so it's a 4 value. Let's see what I get from the discard. Um, Good one. I mean, it's no damage, it's a 2 value boost, but at least it's something. Um, it's a good card gone. Sisters maneuver again, just try to regroup, um, get some more cards, because now they at least have 3 cards in Cauldron again, so they can heal up pretty easily. Um, he's thinking of where to go, maybe wants to make me boost, um, which actually now is the case, so that's not great. I could, of course, just go for something like a Prey Upon right now as a pass, but I don't feel like it gives much value yet, so I just boost with another red to keep pressure on that one sister. Of course, he has Remedy in hand, but I mean, it's still good for me because he spends the cards in Cauldron for the card and not for spells, which is probably the better solution for me. Exploit into Remedy again, take 3, heal 3, so I mean, health total stays the same, but he kind of wasted the 3 cards in his Cauldron, which is fine for me. Now I get this little problem where I actually draw into more Ravenings, which isn't great. Um, because, well, I don't have sisters anymore. And in this situation, I have to think, because the Ravenings will actually clump up my hand even more, and I can't really use them. On the other hand, I have a Baptism in hand, which of course heals me too and resurrects a sister. So there is a world where I just take this attack. The max it can be is basically a 4, so I could take 4 damage, then heal 2 again, and actually use my Ravenings. Because then Sister got revived, so I can actually use them. Which might be a good solution right here, because I'm not really worried about my health right now. Um, and if the Ravenings just keep clumping up my hand, that will be not great, because I'll still have to boost every turn to actually get to them, and it's not great. So I'm really thinking about taking here. Um, I mean, the max it can be is a 4, so yeah, take it is, and 4 it is. So Danny, of course, returns the bat symbol to have the action gain online, but first he won the combat, so he can still look at the top card of his deck. No need at all to put it in Cauldron, like he already has all 3 symbols there, so you'll just keep it in hand. And actually decides to go for the action game, because from his point of view, of course, I took an attack right now. So there might be the option of it being a no defense case. Place another scheme to heal more and gain the action. Um, and for me now, well, he probably can't go for another action gain, but just for the case that he plays a card that returns one from Cauldron, um, from discard to Cauldron, yeah, it's fine. Uh, yeah, Hurly Burly reveals a 3 boost, so no way that's going into Cauldron. No damage it is, and I can move away, and, well, Danny will decide to heal again. For me, I thought about not moving there, and just going for the ping, but, well, Sister's back at 5 health again, so, and they still have an action, so no real need to stay there. I only have a Feint left in hand for defense, so I'd rather just chicken out there and take some time to actually get some cards again because as you just saw, that was like, ooh, I used two defenses on offense and now my hand is full of schemes. Well, that's Dracula for you. Um, Sisters maneuver up to 7. Are thinking of where to actually position right now. Um, Unlike this, it's not the perfect way I would position, but it still gives them like the option to reach the whole right in one maneuver with the right sister, and then like most of the left part of the board with a 1 boost. So I guess it's fine. I of course go to the singular space where they have to boost for 2 to actually get to me. Um, just maybe if they don't have a good boost, well they have. Prophecy, not great card. So they're fine with losing that. And now go for a attack. I try to feint because, well, dash I'd rather keep for the turns where they actually get their action gain spell. And it turns out to be quite well because otherwise they could have returned a card from Cauldron and actually gone for an action game. So the feint was actually quite useful. Um, and then he decides to not actually cast the spell, which makes sense. He doesn't really need the ping damage right here, and is maybe a bit more worried about another beast form or whatever. I go for the ping because, well, I need as much damage as possible. Well, this is just because otherwise I won't kill them ever. And yeah, ambush into 4 value defense, hits the other remedy, not great. No damage, but I mean, he basically wastes more cards on the next spell that he casts. Then I maneuver away because, as you see, my hand, not great. Not great for attacking stuff. And Danny, of course, doesn't care. He is sisters. They don't really care about how many cards Dracula has in hand. They just attack a lot. Um, and I mean, it seems to work. I go for the feint again because, haha, now he has all symbols already in there. So, well, I just feinted a 6 value attack, which is quite good for me. Of course, he has the option to go for the action gain now, which he does, but at least I didn't take 3. And now, like, the biggest thing he can throw is a 4, so I would only take a max 1. Well, actually, the max thing he can throw right now is a 3, because he already used the 2 4s, haha. Um, so, yeah, for me, it's again, I only have 1 defense on hand. So, do I really want to risk using it right now and then just double maneuvering away and hoping to draw another, or do I take the attack right now while I still have a bit of health and it can't be the highest thing in the world, and then heal up later and still have the option to defend if I need, which probably is the better case right now because just that safety of having a defense is better, and you'd rather take the attacks while you still have health before you defend something that just was just maybe a low value and then, well, you cry later because you just used your last defense on it. And as you saw, I already spent a lot of defense cards, right? It was 2 dashes, it was 1 bidding, it was both exploits, so I already spent a lot. And I think 2 feints as well. That's like over half of my defense that I have in total. So I really have to think about, well, how much do I want to defend even more? So attacks like this that can't really be much because they don't have cards in Cauldron, they can't really cast any scary spells. Yeah, I take. It turns out to be another Hurley. We reveal a 2 boost, which Danny of course wants in Cauldron, but no way I'm taking 5. Um, so yeah, not happening. I go for ping again because, hey, I need defense. And, ooh, okay, well, that's also good. Um, I heal, which is, of course, great for me. Now I have 2 different options, really, to go for either a maneuver or ravening, and I decide to go for the maneuver just, well, not to take an extra attack, and I maybe want to get some ravening value still because, well, I have the other baptism in hand, so if Danny doesn't really go for the sister instantly, there is the option for me to get the ravening for 2 damage, which isn't likely, but it can happen. Danny, as always, plays sisters so they don't give a shit and still attack. Um, and now I'm quite glad that I kept the exploit. It's still a 3, but he would be able to recur a card from discard to cauldron, so he can get an action gain. So, really, really happy to have that dash right now and to be able to move away. Really, really happy. And that just leaves me with 4 defenses left. 4 defenses in my whole deck. And I'm at 5 health. That's just why I say this matchup is Sister's favorite. Because I killed one of them turn 1, which is perfect. Turn 2, I mean. But they still attack so much. They don't care at all about Drax pings or his other attacks. Because the other things he can throw is a max 5 value attack twice. And Sisters don't care. So yeah. I decided to go for a maneuver first to see what I draw. I see defense, so no time for me to waste. I heal up again, um, get another sister, the better sister of the two. By the way, the sister on the left that I already have on the board, that's best sister, no debate. Um, and yeah, sisters, well, maneuver and attack, because again, they don't care. Um, for me, again, it's the decision, well, do I want to defend that? Well, they have all 3 symbols in Cauldron, so the sister will not survive anyways, so I'll just take it and boy, here we go. Curious Familiar. So from here on I basically can't ever just low attack them and bait attack or whatever. Because they could just defend with another Curious and start the loop, so not great. And the next attack I probably want to feint just to maybe stop the loop. Curious, but not cool, not cool. Um, they of course get back the All-Seeing Familiar, the 4-print attack, which is really good for them, of course. They go for another maneuver, create some space, and then decide to use the Ravening on the one sister to just move it away, to make them boost on the next turn if they still want to approach, because at this point I don't really get much value from Ravenings even more, and I'd rather play the second one as a pass than deal the 1 damage with my sister, and then, well, it will just dissect on the next turn, which is not great. I'd rather keep the sister alive and keep the Ravenings as passes. So yeah, sisters don't give a shit that they boost because, well, I only have 4 defenses left. So yeah, they attack. For me, it's yeah feint because they still have all 3 symbols, and I catch the double. So yeah, I take 1, and well, action gain again. It is. Let's just like I said in my guide video that I don't like the action gain spell, but in this matchup, oh yeah, I do like it. Attack again, and I have to take. Oof, oof, oof. Of course, he can return a card from Cauldron, from discard to Cauldron now, and this is scary because if he actually gets from top deck the 3rd symbol that he needs for an action gain, I might just die here because I don't have defense. Which is pretty scary for me, definitely. He's thinking currently which cards, which symbols he has already used. I'd also advise you to do that whenever you play that card. Already look what is already in your discard pile to kind of get the odds right of like what's the most likely symbol to draw next. But he doesn't get the snake. It's so lucky for me that he doesn't get the third one right now. So for him is the option after combat now. Does he want to ping again with a spell or not? And if he does ping, which fighter does he ping? Does he ping Drac or does he ping the sister? I think both are valid options. Because, well, Drac is only at 2 health, so if I don't heal somehow with do my bidding, and not do my bidding, prey upon, well, I will just die to the next ping. On the other hand, the sister might still be annoying for positioning cases, but since he still has 2 of his sisters alive, I think he can cover most zones anyways, so yeah. And just looking at my discard pile, it hurts. It hurts to see. It hurts to see. 3 defense left. The 2 look into my eyes and then do my bidding. So, not great. He does decide to actually go for the ping, not go for the ping. Seems to be a bit undecisive on that one. Um, Maybe he wants to keep them for another double, for another 6 value attack, which I don't think is needed because, well, my only left defenses don't really care about that. Um, 5 would be enough. So, yeah, I don't know. Um, he does decide to keep them there. I, of course, ping the sister, maneuver, and I don't see defense. So for me right now, there's no way I'm playing the mind game of still being there and saying, haha, maybe I have defense, because, well, sisters don't care. I just have to get as far away as possible right now. Um, so, well, I will decide to boost with the sister attack card, thirst for sustenance, boost 3, I don't need it, it's beast from fodder. And then maneuver again, and ha ha ha, we don't have defense again, boys. 3 out of the 4 last cards are defenses. Not great, not great. At least the sister has to boost to get to me, which might convince Danny not to do it. And in this situation, I know he's really thinking about it because if he boosts now and maybe doesn't have the optimal hand, it loses the second healthy sister there. Um, that's not great. That's not great for him because from there on, I might be able to finish the last one just with pings and prey upon. So yeah. So he's really thinking about boosting and just attacking Drac, but I mean the safe option for him is just, of course, to not lose value and kill the sister there. Because I won't defend it anymore because I don't have defense for it. And that of course also disables 2 of my Ravenings, which, since we're both even in deck counts, might be actually worth something for fatigue cases. Um, so for him, it's just like, what are the odds right now that he drew defense? And it's of course risky to go for that play, although I think sisters are a bit more forgiving in that case. Um, But yeah, he decides to not take the risk. Um, because, well, it could hard backfire. Goes for the sister, and yay. That's my next sister that. And now I don't have a way to get them back. And he does return the something wicked this way comes the scheme. So on his next turn, he can move me, deal me 1 damage, and then attack and kill me instantly because any attack that he throws will have the ping online. So yeah, um, I do something crazy. I misform because of course I don't want that to happen. I need to heal ASAP. Go for a prey upon, heal 1. The damage tester of course takes 1. I go for another misform because, well, I won't need that anymore. I hop away to safety and then go for a maneuver. I just spent 3 cards in that 1 turn for 1 damage and 1 heal. That's so hilarious. But at least sisters still need to boost to get to me now. Um, and yeah, that's fine, I guess. Right now, there are of course fatigue things that we have to take into consideration because sisters are at 4 cards in deck. I am at 3 cards in deck. I still have 1 pass with the last prey upon, which is basically 1 heal, 1 damage. So if I use that on the healthy sister, we're both at 4. We're both basically even in deck counts because I have 1 pass. Um, they of course also have their scheme, so pass again for them. So they are actually winning in fatigue. But on the other hand, I still have a beast form left, and they have no way to really stop that. So they can't go for the fatigue play because, well, I will just get the beast form and just finish off the last sister in that case. So technically, sisters would be winning in fatigue, but I don't think it's a valid strategy for them just because, well, I have another beast form coming at some point. So yeah, for sisters, move 3 for the scheme and deal 1 damage, which definitely makes sense. They still have the ingredients to do 1 ping again, so I go for the bidding, which I gladly talk back. And this is an interesting one again, because I don't really want to pick the ward. Um, because then they could move me away, and I ideally want to ping the sister with my ability and then with Prey Upon to finish it up, and then guarantee kill the last one with Beast Form, which would be best case. So I don't really want to pick the ward right here, because then they would be able to move me away. Um, Hurley, of course, also not, because, well, they get another card to hand. I will not give it to them for the boost, so yeah, because otherwise I would just die. Um, and I kind of want to keep the intel on hand knowledge right now. So the other option is stars, which is just blank 3 right now, which is probably the best thing for me to actually get here, because it doesn't do much. It actually does nothing. Um, and I mean, for him, it's also still okay, I guess, because I wasted my bidding for um, this one turn. So yeah, it's okay for him. Um, he does decide to discard everything for the one ping because, oh boy, he didn't have action. That's also another reason why I didn't want to go for the Hurley, because in that case you would have been able to action gain. I ping with ability, finish off the sister with the prey upon, and then maneuver, and hey, we have a beast form, boys. So for me, it's just take center now, um, and then boost in and hope that he didn't draw into Total Trouble, which would of course increase the value of the card by the number of different ingredients in this card. Because, well, if I use my Beast Form and then spend all 5 cards, which I won't be able to because he will make me boost. So if I spend all my 4 cards, I could have a max of 10. Um, he can get up to, I think, a 5 value defense, so that would still work, but if I need to spend one more card, otherwise, nope. Yeah. So as you see, this is really close. It's really, really close. It just depends on having one card or not having one card. Um, for Donnie right now, he knows that I have at least one defense in hand, because there are 2 left and they can't both be in deck because there's only one card in deck. Um, and it's just, yeah, is he able to kill me? Probably not. Although he might get lucky. He still has the Hurley in hand, which might help him. If he reveals a good boost, he keeps that in hand. But in that case, it also doesn't help him as much, I guess. Does boost with a prophecy now on the maneuver, and attacks with ward. So it's no damage. It's funny, if he had any 4 value attack there, I would have died because he had the ingredient, technically, if you want to go for a ping, but yeah, does that. I take 1 maneuver, boost with Ravening, and now 1 health, no cards left in deck, Beast Form into pricking. Oh my lord. Oh my lord. It couldn't have been closer. There's no way it could have been closer. I end at -6 health just due to the return damage from pricking, but of course I still win because I was the active player. Oof. Oof. And then you see, Sisters didn't get their 2 probably most important cards in the matchup, being both prickings. They didn't have them, and they still almost won. So I would say this is slightly Sister's favorite, but it's a really cool matchup, definitely, and I'd recommend you all to play it at some point. For both sides, it's really fun. Um, so yeah, that was it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. The poll for the next matchup Monday is already up. Um, also tell me if you kind of like the start analysis a bit more this time, and maybe you want to see me actually like focusing the cards a bit more on Vorpal at the start. again, because I got some feedback on the Discord that stuff was a bit unclear. So I try to be a bit slower this time and fully explain what the cards do usually. Or if you just want to see them like focused, or whatever, just tell me. I'm open for any feedback, and I'll try to um, improve that because I'm not that much of a tech guy. When I saw like this suggestion, yeah, just blend in an image of the card and stuff, and I'm like, huh? Because I have no clue how to do that. Yeah. Other than that, I'll see you again on Sunday with the Golden Bat Strategy Guide, which is definitely really relevant right now. Um, Although there might be a radio before that because tomorrow I'm actually playing my first real Sum of Legends game against Ema, and I will record that. So yay, you'll get some more competitive gameplay without commentary, but you still get to look at it. So yeah, I'll see you. I don't know when I'll upload it. Thursday, maybe Wednesday already if I'm fast. Well, yeah, see you next time. Bye bye.